This playthrough is rated M for mature. Can you be a sinner without any sin? Greetings and salutations, viewers. We're back here with another episode of Shadowrun Hong Kong. In the last episode, we met with we thought we were going to meet with Raymond, met some Shadowrunners, and then, well, things really hit the fan as Carter, our fellow cop, and the Shadowrunners leader got sniped in the head. And so we're here with the two survivors, Isobel and Gobbet. And now we've got to go to our new digs because now the Hong Kong police have a warrant out for our arrest, and we've got to go sinless if we want to survive this whole ordeal. So let's head on to our new digs and new location and hub area to, figure out how to get past this whole thing. So let's head on up and start Chapter 2. And there's nothing in the sewer. It's just verifying you want to stay in there, so... You scramble up a ladder and through an access way where the sewer system spits you out into the Hong Kong Mass Transit Railway System, the MTR. Crossing the rails, you climb up to the platform and into the stations. Above you is Heoi, where the rat shaman and the little decker plan to plead your case to Kindly Chenge, the one woman they know who can help you get underground and off the grid fast. But there will be a price. Chenge is a triad boss whose favors tend to come with strings attached. The sound of a waterfront at night leaks down from the stairway to the surface. Peering up the steps, you can catch a glimpse of the night sky, overcast and low. And we get 5 karma for just getting to this point, so should have 6 karma if you've played your cards right. I think you have to get 6 karma. I don't think you can avoid it, so... The sewers deposit you into a series of mechanical access ways that eventually link to a system of railway tunnels. Gobbet leads you through 5 or 6 magnetically sealed doors and across several sets of electrified tracks until she indicates you've reached your destination. She holds up her hand, indicates the surrounding platform. This is the MTR station for Heoi. Once you go up the stairs, you'll be in our neighborhood. Kindly Chenge runs our operation out of a mahjong parlor they call Twins. Wu rips off his goggles. There's an APB out on us. How do you expect us to get to this Swift Winds place without taking a bullet?
Heoi is well known as a protected area. Kindly Chenge sees to that. It's a kindly community. Smugglers, hijackers, black marketers. You get the idea. Cops tend to give the place a wide berth.
Isobel gives a shallow nod. Her gaze remains planted on the floor.
Police cameras don't nest along here. Between the smog and the cloud cover, we shouldn't have to worry about drone surveillance either. The HKPF won't find you, not if you follow our lead.
Gobbet widens her stance, puts her hands on her hips.
Now here's how this is gonna work. You can't get an audience with Chenge until we secure you an invitation, so me and Iz will go on ahead and pay our respects. Then we'll request that she see you. Politely.
An audience? What is she, a queen? Her arms cross and her eyebrows raise high.
As far as you're concerned, yeah, she's the queen of Kowloon.
Gobbet holds up a hand.
One more thing. Kindly Chenge is a dangerous woman. She may seem friendly, but don't let your guard drop, or whatever you do not disrespect her.
I've dealt with dangerous people all my life. I know how to behave myself.
You better. If you don't, it's all our asses.
She lets her hand fall and nods to the 3 of you.
Okay, we'll go on ahead and smooth the way. Just give us a few minutes head start.
Why don't we just go with you?
Because no one knows you're here and outsiders aren't welcome in Heoi.
Gobbet eyes Wu up and down.
Plus, your friend here radiates cop. Cops are even less welcome than outsiders.
Then she looks your way.
And you're not exactly ordinary either, are you?
I am what I am. She smiles for the first time.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. If you see us strolling through town together with no prior explanation, we might not make it to the mahjong parlor at all.
Thanks for the help. She squints at you, confused.
You're helping ourselves as much as we're helping you, Seattle. We need your sins burned as badly as you do, and we need to figure out a way out of this shit, or we're all dead. Plus, we could use the muscle right now.
Her voice turns sheepish.
Just saying.
She quickly turns away.
See you at the mahjong parlor.
I don't know if I have much muscle, although my body's decent. The Shadowrunner's footsteps quickly fall away, and then you're alone with Wu. He grunts something unintelligible and begins panther stalking back and forth again, boot prints of sewer water and muck marking his path on the subway platform behind him. Minutes pass. Wu stops his pacing and runs both hands over his face, groaning a sound of anxiety and disgust. It dissipates, and he stands there silently, his hands covering his face and his shoulders shaking with emotion. Then he begins to laugh. It's a laugh that comes from deep down, from a place where fear and frustration and impotence swirl. But the barrier holds. Wu focuses, takes control of his breathing. His laughter begins to slow. He becomes himself again. Oh my God, Pikel. An aftershock of laughter shudders through him. Are you fucking kidding me? What the hell are we doing here? How do we get into this? He drops his hands and turns to you, shaking his head in disbelief. I think I'm gonna lose it. Go ahead, we're alone. Wu walks to the wall of the subway station silently. He stands there a moment lost in thought, and then his fists explode in a flurry of punches. He hits the wall hard, sending plaster crumbling to the floor at his feet. The orc breathes heavily for a moment, head down, hands on hips, spent. Carter's dead, Pikel. They fucking ended her. He puts a hand to his forehead. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Sounds like she was more than just your partner. He turns to you with a blank face. More than just a partner. Of course she was. Then he gets it and his hackles raise. She was my training officer, you idiot. My mentor. It looked like you two were close. Wu waves you off with a gnarled hand. Carter was my partner. She had my back. Do you get how important that is, what it means to lose that? Yeah, same thing with well, not just cops, but those in the army and stuff like that. Same thing. When you're out there on the streets facing down a food riot, you need to know someone's looking out for you. That you're standing next to someone that you can depend on. That was Carter. Now she has a bullet in her brain. His shoulders slump and he exhales heavily. And she was like my compass or my anchor. Some shit. She kept me, I don't know, sane. I get it. She's important to you and she got killed. Now try to focus so we don't get killed. Wu glares at you, his right hand flexing. Then he steps back, sucking in a deep breath. Screw it. Whatever she was, I'm throwing her down the memory hole. You know why? He snarls, spits. Because it doesn't matter now. Because we're gonna burn our sins, Pikel. Jesus Christ, do you know what that means? The moment we do that, we're dead. Tell all the world we're dead. We're wiped clean. He counts it off on his fingers. Raymond, the house we grew up in, my career, Carter, all gone. No home, no money, no identity, nothing. He waves his hand, brushes it all away. We will be nobody. We were street kids, Duncan. We're used to being nobodies. Just chill. Chill? Who the fuck are you to tell me to chill after what just happened? And you aren't losing what I'm about to lose either. Our paths went in different directions, a long time ago. Wu's neck cranes forward, his lower jaw thrusts out ahead of him. You left me behind, God damn it! You left me behind! You left me behind. Memories flash bright. Suddenly you're back 8 years ago on the street outside of Raymond's house. Just you and Wu, the middle of the night. You can't just leave like that, Pikel. What am I going to say to Raymond? You know how he is. Yeah, I know how he is. Flexible. Exactly. We're breaking one of his rules just being outside the house after curfew. What is so important that you had to run out now in the middle of the night without even telling Raymond why? He's distraught. You can see it on his face, hear it in his voice. He used to be lost without you. By the way, all these choices are just kind of fleshing out your backstory. They don't really do anything other than like certain dialogue over the course of the game, but it's like just have fun with it, with like whatever it is. So let's see how do I want to deal with this. I mean, it doesn't matter. I just like reading all the dialogue for this. So yeah, I need to see a guy about a deal, the good kind, the big kind. His eyes widen. A deal? I thought we left that shit behind, Pikel. Look, whatever's going on, I can tell you one thing. Raymond will not approve. Raymond doesn't approve of anything but the life of a wage slave. See you in a couple of days. You remember the look on Duncan's face as you walked away. The events that followed were a blur, one that you don't care to remember. 3 days later, you're behind bars in a private corporate prison. No interrogation, no charges, no appeal. Years later, some corporation bought some other corporation, and the new board of directors pushed through some sort of reform agenda, and the higher-ups gave an order. And then you were out, with a few hundred new yen to your name, and one scary-as-hell non-disclosure agreement ensuring your silence. Not that it mattered to you anymore. You were starting fresh, determined. Until Raymond tracked you down, left you that voicemail, brought you to Hong Kong, and back together with Duncan Wu. You realize that Wu's been staring at you. Now let's hear it. Where the hell have you been all this time? Why didn't you contact me? At least tell me you were alive. You pissed that I didn't contact you? I was locked up, Duncan, for years. You're a cop. Why didn't you go looking for me? You think I didn't? I tried everything. You were completely off the grid. The information finally sinks in and he dials back the attitude. And now I understand why. Locked up, huh? Shit. A range of emotions play across Wu's face. He stares at the ground for some time before finally looking back at you with a heavy sigh. Wow, I really don't know how to process that one right now. He shakes his head. I don't know. If we were still alive tomorrow, we can talk more. This shit's too much. We are marooned on this island, hunted by the cops. My partner's dead. Raymond is missing, and we're about to go see a crime lord about erasing our goddamn identities. And as a bonus, our only allies are a pair of tiny criminals who would kill us if they would. It's just so they didn't have to deal with this. He rubs his head viciously. Listen, Pikel, back in the Barrens, whenever I was out of control, you just handled the situation. Remember, with Carter gone, I'm just a raw nerve. I'm afraid I'm going to slip back, and people are going to start getting hurt again. This is basically the game saying, hey, you're the main character, you should run the show, basically, despite Duncan probably should be the one to lead, just because of him being a cop and everything like that. I got the lead, Duncan, just like I used to. He stares at you hard, like he's trying to see something inside your head. Then he checks his weapons, cocks and locks. Back to business. Good. Now let's go meet this triad woman and get our damn sins burned. I want to rip off the bandages as fast as I can. Alright, let's do it. Yeah, this is one of the few... The one thing I do like about this game is it kind of goes through the process... It explains a bit more... Well, it explained the process before in previous games, but now this game forces you to go through the process to become sinless. Like, how does it happen in the first place? Heoi, a makeshift boat city latched on to the Kaitok River front like a parasite. Behind you, a massive snarl of dark and derelict tide rises dominates the horizon of the walled city. Oh, and Duncan was talking, but I don't see a mahjong part. He said something else, but I was trying to read the bottom bit. I probably should have read the top part first. So, all right, let's check out Heoi and see what things are about before we do the plot. See what's going on. Let's see, intercom, huh? A massive steel security door is set into a bunker-like concrete wall. There's no sign or identification of what this place is. A battered intercom is encased in a cage of wielded steel and armored glass. Grainy letters are barely readable on the screen. Chrome Alley, medical services and mechanical repair. Premises protected by deadly weapons and infectious diseases. Press the button. There's a crackle of static, then a brisk voice answers. What do you want? The voice Cantonese is precise, but the accent sounds American. Is this a medical clinic? No, it's a chicken factory. What do you want? I'm looking for a medical clinic. Yeah, that's me. But listen, guy, I don't know you. I don't like people I don't know. Who sent you? Well, Walt sent me. I'm friends with Isobel and Gobbet. Let's just say it out. Yeah, those two dragged some real prizes out of the river. You get Nitro to vouch for you. I'll consider giving you the time of day. Got it? You don't keep up with current events, do you? Nitro is dead. There's a long silence on the intercom. Crying shame if that's true. I saw that one coming. So you just washed up with Isobel and Gobbet, huh? You know what that tells me? You're here today and you'll be gone tomorrow. I'll keep my distance. I'm doing it. Well, I am one of Kindly's people. Really, huh? I'll just check on that. There's a long static laden silence on the intercom. Then it reactivates long enough for 2 words to reach you. Fuck off. Okay. Well, as soon as we start working for Kindly, you know that's gonna happen. Let's see what else is around. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I can't do it. But yeah, that's gonna be basically the medical shop and all that other stuff. But for now, we can't do anything about it. Oh, let's talk about that triad guard. Hello, sir. Hello. Okay, there we go. The thug looks at you dead-faced. Despite his street clothes, he wears a high-tech earpiece. The entrance to the walled city is closed to foreigners. Alright. Can't go into the foreigner place, huh? Alright. Let's talk to this guy. Frederick Kai-Fi. That's close enough, friend. The club is members and invites only. I suggest that you just move along. Oh, he's got a cat with a red eye there. Cool. Come on, man. My friend's already inside. Can't I just look around for a second? No. Well, nice try there, I guess. Alright. Alright, anyone else got anything? But yeah, this is, so just kind of get a brisk a clear, brisk view of this place. This will be our hub area for, well, for the rest of the game, actually. Yeah, kind of like in the previous games, you always had that hub section to go to, and this is it for this game, this area. So, the bolt hole, huh? Sounds vulgar. The original name has been sloppily painted over with black paint. Newer but somewhat weathered characters have been painted in bold brush strokes and read bolt hole. I wonder how old those people were that wrote that. That looks like a nice boat. Wouldn't be a bad idea to stay in it. You know, seems pretty roomy. Anyway, let's talk to the smuggler here. Talk to the smuggler here. Just off the docks, you spot a sea-worn man with a smile that almost too wide for his head. His teeth shine white against the thick black brush of his beard. His clothes are a myriad of colors, patterns, and fabrics. A smattering of cultures draped across his body. If there's anything he's clearly advertising, it's the extent of his travels. You will see something you like. His voice is coarse, like steel wool on your eardrums. Come and get it, because now is your last chance. Everything is on sale. Won't find prices like these anywhere else, my friend. You from around here? No, not I, not here. Plans to leave these waters soon as I wrangle up enough supplies to do so. He leans toward you, voice lower, breath surprisingly free of alcohol. There are things happening here. Locals call them dreams. I call them evil, and I don't want no more of that. What do you dream about? Doesn't matter. All I remember clearly is how I felt during and after, drained as if these dreams leached away some of the good years. No more of that. If you want to know what's good for you, leave too. You really think they're that bad? No doubt about it, they're evil, alright, and things like that will only get worse. And even if they don't, you'll never forget them. The feelings, the thought, they set you into your mind like a stain. These goods of yours look like they've changed hands a few times. You selling stolen merchandise? He shrugs the motion, nonchalant and uncaring. I take what I get. Sometimes I can find things, sometimes I take things, and sometimes I play the game. Invest a little, make a little something more in return. He crosses his arms and looks you over. Oh, why do you ask? You judge a perfectly respectable businessman such as myself in these harsh times? You've never been in this business, I can see it. You've no right to fault me. You're right, I haven't, and if I were, I'd probably be doing the same thing. It's not a bad line of work. Sure, it's a step below honest, but it's a step above shadowrunning. We've got to keep our integrity, right? If you got a decent, if you got a decent charisma, you can lie to him with a charisma of at least 2. I'm a runner, and I'm in this to survive, just like what you're doing here. Would you say I've lost my integrity? His nostrils flare, and he leans back in surprise. Wouldn't depend you for a runner. Guess I can still be surprised by people. You look pretty green, though. Take my advice, and don't get too caught up in it. Hold on to it yourself. By the way, there's no point to having it. If you have it, it's extra dialogue. Like I said, a lot of times it's just extra dialogue. There'll be a few times where it'll actually affect things, but for now, not so much. I'll do whatever it takes to win. If that means shedding that part of myself, then fine. In the end, I'll still be alive. The smuggler nods solemnly. You do what you have to. Show me what you're selling. Alright, let's see what he's got right now. He's got a couple weapons. I don't need anything right now, but he's got a pistol, a submachine gun, shotgun, a rifle, and a katana, for those who need it. Spells, he's got Mana Bolt, but we already have that. And then he's got ESPs for deckers, some grenades. Might buy some grenades for Duncan to use, or anyone can use grenades. It's just if you have the throw skill, you do better at it than others. So you can also buy trauma kits. Trauma kits are the didn't actually want to buy that. Trauma kits are the basically Phoenix Downs of the game, so they allow you to get back up. In the Shadowrun world, you usually have to pay so much money for Dockwagon to come get you, and depending how good your package is they'll come in with their whole armed units to save you, depending on how bad it is. So it's pretty entertaining in the paper game. The Force 1 Earth Talisman is a thing for conjurers. You have to, you don't have to be a pure conjurer, you just have to have a certain amount of spirit summoning, but it's basically a consumable item that allows you to summon an Earth element without having it being on the map. Because certain maps will have certain places that you can summon things, but not all the time. Having one of these guarantees you can summon one at any point. Then we got med kits, and they heal you for so much. And if you have the medic ability, or the one ability, I think it's medic or whatever, but you can improve how much it heals. But yeah, and programs are for deckers. This allows you to do stuff when you go into the Matrix, but we don't need that since we're not playing deckers. So, but yeah, I wouldn't buy anything right now, just because we're too early in the game for that. So yeah, let's keep taking a look around before we go see Madam Cheng. Insulation on these heavy wires is cracked. They buzz and crackle occasionally as stray drips from the awning strike them. Alright. Let's see, I think we've checked everything there. I think we've seen everything we pretty much can for this. At least for now, anyway. Before we go see the madam herself. And there's the Mahjong parlor. There's other stores and stuff like that. It's just, for now, that's the only one we can access. And it will be different later on because, you know, he's saying he's leaving. Okay, nothing else here. I thought there was like one other thing we could check before we headed into the parlor, but nope, I guess not. Okay. Alright, let's go inside and see if we can convince this lady Triad to do this for us. The Swift Winds Mahjong parlor filled with the stink of cigarette smoke, the incessant click-clack of Mahjong tiles, and the grim faces of hardened gamblers. I know what that sounds like. I played Yakuza. They're good games. You should try them out if you haven't.
Come in. We have a lot to talk about.
There's Kindly Chenge right there. Yep. There's Gobbet and Isobel. Alright, let's see what she has to say. You can feel every eye in the room as you cross the Mahjong parlor to the middle-aged woman sitting patiently at the end. The click-clack of ivory-colored tiles stops. Hands stray beneath tables into jacket pockets and behind backs. The woman has the face of a prison guard and the demeanor of an inmate. Her salt and pepper hair is pulled into an iron-hard bun, and beneath it, two shiny black eyes offer nothing, buttons sewn on a doll. A nearly empty bottle of something foul rests on her Mahjong table, nestled between a pair of dirty shot glasses, tiny puzzles of brown liquor at their bottom. Gobbet and Isobel stand on the other side of the table, heads lowered, shoulders slumped, hands clasped. They risk a frightened glance at you as you approach. Kindly Chenge's voice is nasal and rusty mean.
My little pair of fuck-ups here told me all about what happened on the docks.
She dips a pinky into a shot glass, brings it to her mouth, removes it with a sharp smack.
How two of my best runners had their heads put out. How you need protection, how you need to get your identities wiped before you get your heads put out too. Potentially leading the heavy TT to my front door, placing me and everyone in my employ in danger. She fingers the rim of her glass. So wise, so very, very wise.
The young shaman's eyes never leave the floor.
We're sorry, Auntie. We thought...
Her black eyes flash.
You mustn't speak until you're spoken to, Gobbet dear.
The smile turns mean.
And since you are one short hair away from being dumped in the river chained to Isabel's corpse, I suggest you let your new friends here do the talking for a while. Does that make sense to you, dear?
Her treacle voice is back, sweet, nasal, and grinding. Dark circles ring Gobbet's armpits.
Yes, Auntie.
Chenge inclines her head gently.
Very good. You learn so quickly.
Remain silent. She pours another drink. Her cheeks are rosy, already flushed.
Now, my darlings, I understand from little rat shit here that you came from Seattle to meet my client, Mr. Black.
Mr. Black. Kind of reminds me of the Simpsons episode. Wu's jaw tightens at the word client.
But before you could find him, the HKPF started spattering gray matter everywhere and everything went to shit. And now you need your sins burned so you can disappear before you end up dead too. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Why don't we start with you telling me who you are?
Call me Wiggles.
Oh, you've already chosen a street name. How prescient of you.
Chenge looks at you approvingly.
Wiggles. It's a good name. Has real character.
She flutters her eyelashes at you.
Now, what's your real name? I mean, you do want me to erase your identities, don't you, dear? I'll need to know who you are first.
Pikel, I'm a mage of the hermetic variety. She rests her chin on her hands.
Interesting. I must say, I've never been partial to magicians myself, too. Too otherworldly for me. And how did you become a mage, Pikel?
This is another case of just citing your past or whatever, so you could tell her how it is, so... Yeah, let's see. Just trying to think, Yeah, let's go with, let's just say I'm self-taught and leave it at that. Wu lets out a grunt. Better leave it at that. Kindly Chenge whips her head towards Wu, a nasty retort already on her lips, but then she stops, sticks out her lower lip as she sizes him up. She turns to her lieutenant standing behind her, nodding her approval.
Looks like the gun show is in town. What's your name, gun show?
Wu's focus remains straight ahead. Duncan Wu, I'm a cop, Lone Star.
I'm a kip. I hear there's some fresh corpses found in the docks tonight. Smugglers, I believe. Didn't sound like Hong Kong police when I heard about it. You're doing Duncan Wu?
Wu's eyes remain fixed on a spot on the wall behind her. He smolders. I identified myself as Lone Star, but they wouldn't stand down. They had weapons. It was self-defense. She puckers her lips at him, her voice sing-song.
I don't care, sweetie. They weren't my people. But now I know you're a life-taker, Mr. Gunshow. You and your friend here.
She begins arranging mahjong tiles on the table in front of her.
But now I'm curious. Why were you meeting Raymond Black on the docks tonight?
He's a friend, said he needed our help. Cheng's black eyes flash.
Really? You have a lot of 65-year-old friends you'll fly around the world to help?
He raised us. Raymond Black is our foster father. That makes her pause. Cheng lifts her bottle of swill and eyes the label, connecting the dots in her own head.
Interesting.
A look of disgust passes over her face.
Sorry, kids, but he was looking like shit when I saw him. Eyes half open, dark circles around them, dragging his feet, the whole bit.
She tisks in displeasure.
Your foster daddy was in a bad place.
You think it was drugs? You can hear Wu's teeth grind. Raymond didn't do drugs, Pikel. Kindly Cheng wags a finger in agreement.
Of course not. Nobody's daddy does drugs, Gunshow. They all have herb gardens and read poetry books to relax after a hard day at the office.
She shrugs and inclines her head towards you.
Who knows, Boulder Shoulder? It could have been drugs, but he was lucid most of the time. Still, if Mr. Black was on something, it was definitely some sort of hallucinogen. I remember him drifting off near the end of our meeting. It looked like he was off somewhere else in his head. He said,
I left a prospicity in there.
Then Nightjar put his hand on Mr. Black's shoulder, asked him why he wanted to go into the walled city so badly. That seemed to bring him back. When your old man opened his eyes, they were full of tears. Then he muttered something else I couldn't make out.
She pours herself another shot, tosses it back, and rubs her belly like a bowl full of jelly. No,
your daddy got real irritating after a while.
Yeah, I can imagine. She grabs a long, slim cigar from a pack on the mahjong table and lights up.
All right, let's get to it.
She exhales smoke and points two fingers at you and Wu.
You two need your sins burned, and you'll need them burned fast. Hong Kong dragnets are bad news. When they roll in force. Armored personnel, carriers, heavy armor, heavy weapons, sorcerers, the whole thing. And they aren't coming to rescue you.
She folds her arms across her chest. The thin cigar bobs in her mouth as she speaks.
That's good. The good news is I can help you. With a wave of my hand, I can have your sins disappear. But you need to understand, my darlings, is that what you're asking for is not a simple request. Burning a sin isn't just deleting a number. It's wiping all reference to that number from all the world's largest databases. It's masking your mugshot in their facial recognition database so that the first camera you walk past doesn't bring them down on you like a ton of bricks. It's covering our fucking tracks so that the act of burning your sin doesn't lead them straight to us. It requires contacts in numerous corporations and the UCS's government. Smoke rolls out of the Triad's boss's nose. It requires someone like me. Well, and others. There's a lot of people in this world, not just you, lady. Therefore, I need to make a choice.
She takes another drag on her cigar and gently places her palm flat on the table.
Do I kill you and dispose of your bodies before the corpse come looking for you, or do I help you burn your sin?
Another case of just flow into the target. But if you have etiquette, and this doesn't do anything, it just enhances the situation. From what I've read about the Triad, your first priority should be your reputation. 2 of your people were just killed. It's lost to face. Cheng rests her chin on her hand again and smiles at you coldly.
So clever. So clever.
Her chin stays on her hands, but her eyes look past you, surveying the Yellow Lotus soldiers in the room.
Yes, I have been placed in a delicate situation, haven't I? Regardless, that's a situation whether you're alive or you're sucking dirt.
She stares at you for a long moment, chin still on hand, thinking, taps her ash on the floor without taking her eyes off you. A low, reluctant growl rumbles somewhere deep in her throat.
You live. You're clever, and I like that. I'll put your sins to the torch. However, I'll need to call in several valuable favors within my network to do it, and those favors do not come cheap.
Kindly Cheng stubs out her cigar.
You will owe me.
I can't say I'm surprised. She pokes a finger at your direction.
Of course not. You seem to have an understanding of how the world works. The give and take, that is a part of every fruitful relationship. I want you to deliver a message for me to a business associate in the walled city. The Yellow Lotus has a strong presence inside, Pykel. Isobel can tell you all about it, can't you, dear? Isobel grew up in the walled city. Isobel's eyes remain lowered. They collect taxes for the corporations, extort protection money from shopkeepers, run drugs, guns people, they hood people. We do those things, yes, but to be fair, we also operate the walled city's black market. You might not be alive today if it weren't for the lifeline that we provide.
Isobel clams up tight. Cheng picks up a mahjong tile and turns it with her fingers.
There's a red pole, a sort of enforcer, yes, on the inside. His name is Stringler Bao. Bao is a strong man, a good soldier, but he has forgotten his place. I need you to remind him.
Let me guess. By remind him, you mean put a bullet in his head?
No, if I wanted him dead, I would have said so. Don't jump to conclusions. You aren't any good at it.
She tosses you a memory stick.
This is a message for Bao. You will deliver it to him, in my name, then return to me. Remember, Wiggles, Bao's men are my men. By right, they should all be serving me. I would prefer it if you did this quietly and without killing them. I have no use for dead soldiers.
She turns to Gobbet and Isobel.
One of you will go with these two Westerners to the walled city. Help them locate Bao and show them the ropes. The other will remain here with me. I have several menial and degrading tasks that need doing around the establishment. No matter who goes and who stays, you'll both pay by bringing an APB to my doorstep. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. Now, I'm going to find out who ordered the hit on Nightjar and do some dentistry on him with power tools.
She closes her eyes and smiles with pleasure.
That boy was my favorite. He sang to me sometimes.
Yeah, looks like he might have been, she might have been his sugar mama. She opens her eyes again and sneers.
That other one, I don't care about. Gutshot was an asshole.
Yeah, we never even saw his portrait, so that's how little importance he was.
She turns away and waves you off with the back of her hand. That will be all, my darlings. Return to me when you are done.
One last question, Auntie. She keeps her eyes back to you, but you can tell she's making eye contact with her lieutenant.
Why not? Apparently I'm feeling generous today.
What do you think happened to Raymond and got your Shadowrunners killed? Kindly Chenge's voice is small.
I don't know.
For someone who seems to have a lot of fingers in all the pies, she doesn't have all the information, so... Alright, so now we have to do this job for her to kind of officially be in on this. Does she have anything else? I don't think so, but let me double check anyway. Kindly Chenge has her head buried in her PDA and her hand on her bottle. She doesn't look up at you.
I think you have business to attend to, Wiggles. Now go away. I'm busy.
Alright, fine. Alright, well. Seems like our situation is not the worst it could be, but definitely could be better. So let's head on to do this job for her. And she told us not to kill anyone, but this is a strategy game. We're supposed to kill everyone. Or it's a game just in general. We're supposed to kill all people, all of them. No, I'm just kidding. The thug taps his earpiece, gestures with his head. Auntie Cheng said you'd be coming. You can pass. Alright, and here we go. Alright, now this is the choosing the team segment. So every time you go on missions from here on out, we have a section of people you can choose depending on the situation. When traveling to a new mission location, you'll be able to choose which members of your team to bring, modify their loadout for the run. When members of your team become permanently incapacitated on a mission, they'll be automatically extracted for emergency medical care. They'll be patched up and ready for action the next time you return to Heoi. Avoid this loss of power by always carrying some dockwag and trauma kits on the field. So, alright. So, normally we can choose 4 people, but for this job specifically, we can only choose 3. Duncan is required, and so is ourselves. You can either choose Isobel or Gobbet. That really depends on what you need for the mission. So Gobbet is a shaman, obviously, so she can handle magic and summoning and all this other stuff and magic that maybe I can't do as a hermetic mage. And Isobel is a decker, so she handles all the matrix stuff. So in this case, since I'm not a decker, I'm going to choose Isobel. Although personally, I'm more of a fan of Gobbet, just in general. But we're going to choose Isobel to join us. So sorry, Gobbet, you're going to have to be doing menial tasks while we're doing this. So, and I don't really have any items to give her, but Isobel comes with her custom silver gun, her mini grenade launcher, and her deck. Don't give us our deck. And she's also got her gear. Usually gear would have like a little description, but in this case it just has a 2. Let's take a look at her skills. She's got 2 action points, 6 essence, which is essence figures out like is like your body's natural like essence. It's the lower it is, the less you can do magic, that type of thing. But since she doesn't have magic, it doesn't matter. And the only cyberware she carries is her headpiece, her data jack, which you can actually put data jacks in other parts of your body. It's just the head one is the most prominent one. Strength of 2, quickness of 4, 3 willpower, 6 intelligence with all her points in decking and ESP control. She's got 4 charisma and 4 in body, although charisma doesn't really affect her at all. There's some stats that are just there for flavor more than anything because they don't affect her character at all. So all right, let's confirm and go. Head on into the next section of the game. As the game loads, there we go. City of Darkness, Kowloon walled city, the most densely populated spot on Earth. Nearly 40,000 people crammed into 7 acres of chaos, poverty, disease, and vice. A self-contained city that collects no taxes and provides no city services. Stagnant water sits in temporary wells. Trash lies piled on roofs for controlled burns, improvised structures, and leans dangerously over populated areas. It's the ideal breeding ground for all manners of illicit trade, drugs, gambling, black market trade, metahuman trafficking, and everything in between. The only law is Triad law. And now you need to enter the septic system of a city, find a Triad enforcer named Strangler Bow, and deliver a message from Kindly Chenge. And now we get our official loadout. So if you have any extra items, you can give it to your team. And let's see. All we've got is, what we got currently, my gear, my spells, and everything like that. If I did buy stuff, I could add more stuff, but right now there's really not much to really really add, so we'll leave it as is. So later on we'll do more with it, but for now, not a big deal. We will do karma late. You can basically do karma at any time. It's just the game's way of reminding you, hey, you can level up if you want to. So I usually like saving karma for like if I want to raise my charisma and get like another etiquette, that type of thing. So foul, oily water rains down from above, mixes with the filth and offal and swill of the streets, turns it into a flowing slurry of unrecognizable sewage. In the distance, the sound of black alley activity added to the ambiance at your arrival. Breaking glass, the cackling hiss of garbage fire, faint screams of terror punctuated by the occasional gunshot, sex and business, and violence and misery blended into one. Wu winces at the stink, waves a hand in front of his face. Raymond said that prosperity is in the walled city, but I don't see it. Why the hell would he want to set foot in this place?
Who knows? He's have to be insane to travel to the walled city. As I think we said, and it's the most slum in the eastern hemisphere, maybe the west in the world.
She does her best to suppress a shudder. Can't keep the dread from creeping into her voice.
Can't believe I grew up here.
Sorry to have to drag you here. Isabel looks around, closes her eyes.
You could have brought Gobbet instead. I would have been cool with that.
She peers up at the catwalks and sky bridges that connect the rotting tenements, sagging architecture. Frowning, she points to a spot in the distance.
There was a market over there when I was a kid. Might not be a bad place to start.
I thought you knew where to find Strangler Bow.
I do. We need to get into the Lotus Den. That's what Bao calls the little island of control that he's carved out for himself here. It's a stupid name, but it's stuck. He'll have guards posted at every entrance, but we might be able to find a way around them through the market. That's what Kindly would prefer.
They probably aren't expecting anyone to come in force. We can kick in the door, drop the guards, and hand over the message, and get the hell out.
Kindly doesn't want them dead. She wants them to remember where their loyalties lie. It's tough to remember much of anything when you got a bullet in your head. I mean, we could kill them if you really wanted to. Technically, Bao is the only one that has to live, but I'd rather keep Auntie Cheng happy than piss her off again.
This group's safety is my biggest concern. We don't need to risk our necks for a bunch of triad thugs.
I like the way you think.
The Decker looks around her, wrinkles her nose.
I want out of this place as fast as possible.
Damn right, let's do this. Alright, can we do it? With Gobbet's help, will we be able to go through the walled city, get Strangler Bow to tell him to bow down to his queen? We'll find out next time in the next episode of Shadowrun Hong Kong. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.